Hi guys, thanks for joining us again. I'm Trevor from Circus Conditioning, and with me today is Hannah Watts from Performance Pilates, and she's an aspiring athlete.
Yes, thank you for having me.
No problem. Thanks for being here. So today we're going to do some specific Pilates-based exercises and some interventions for these exercises. If yourself or maybe some of your clients or students have particular problems in some common poses, some extension poses, flexion poses, and some lateral bend poses as well. So by using these techniques, hopefully we can get a little bit more flexibility and cleanness in the movement. So I hope this helps your practice. Okay, so the first position we're going to look at today with Hannah is a swan, a common extension posture. So starting out in a prone position. So Hannah, if you don't mind just demonstrating your lovely swan for us. Okay, great. So obviously, if you're having problems there, you don't have to come up so high. You could keep the quads and the thighs down on the mat. How does that feel, Hannah?
That's good.
Yep, so tell me, what are you feeling there?
A little bit hinging into my lower back.
Okay.
So I'm struggling to get some articulation in
Yeah,
there.
so you can see there where maybe Hannah is actually what we would call hinging, or finding that she's moving in a particular area more so than others, or extending in the spine. So we're going to try something now and see if we can actually make a bit of a change there. How did that feel?
It was okay.
Was okay?
Could be better.
So just remember how that felt.
Yeah.
So we're just going to use a foam roller today. You could use a standard roller, you could use a short roller like this as well. So we'll use the standard roller for this technique. So Hannah, what I'm going to get you to do, you're going to stay in a prone position. We're going to use the roller and actually bring that under your tummy. Now I'm going to get that roller to line up pretty much just here. I'll show you guys just at home where that is, just at the junction of the rib cage here. And that's where Hannah's going to place the roller. So Hannah, if you can look over here at me, just about there. So that's where you want the roller to be. And I want your elbows over the top of the roller. Good. So we're actually putting some pressure down, essentially in that higher rectus area, where the rectus abdominis, or the abdominal muscles, will join up near the rib cage. And we're seeing if we can add some pressure and just try to release some of the tissue at the front of the body in order to allow a bit more extension in the spine. How does that feel?
It's good.
Feels okay?
Yeah.
So a couple of things that we could do here is Hannah's elbows down, and she's trying to get as much pressure as she can down into the roller here. If we want to apply more pressure to that area, so Hannah, what I'm going to get you to do is just turn, so rotate at your neck and look over this shoulder, and look at me. So what happens here, you can see Hannah's twisting somewhat. She's rotating to her right, so she's going to add more pressure down into that left side. How's that?
Tight.
Tight. So remember, that tightness usually is an indication that there is some bound tissue or some stuck tissue there, whether it's fascia, connective tissue, muscle, whatever it might be. And let's do the other side. So if you rotate to the left, how's that?
As tight.
Not as tight, okay. And so if you have somebody at home that can help you, you can actually get them to apply some overpressure back here, through there. How's that, Hannah? Good. Or of course, if you're on your own, you could just do that technique, which I did with Hannah a second ago. So if you just do that a couple of times there, Hannah, putting as much pressure as you can, as you can tolerate. And you could do this for time, so maybe 30 seconds. The tissue there is not very thick, it's quite thin, so you don't really need a great deal of time with this tissue. But you should feel, hopefully, that it's starting to release somewhat. And maybe just do one more on each side, and we'll retest the swan in a second and see if we've made any change. Maybe we've made it worse. How's that?
Feels good.
Okay, great. So we'll take the roller away. And if you just repeat your swan there, Hannah. How does that feel?
A lot better.
Yeah. What are you feeling in your back?
It's not as tight. It doesn't feel as stuck.
Okay, so let's do a couple more. Just come up as high as you feel comfortable too. Good. So there's less tightness in your back. And you can see how the curve in that extension, we'll do one more there, Hannah. It actually looks a little bit cleaner there. That line in her back actually looks.
Yeah, it feels a lot better.
Great. So very simple technique there that we can use a foam roller for. There's another way that we can do that, and I'll get Hannah to do that as well. So we're going to use a ball. So this could be any ball that you have. It could be, I find these balls, these little futsal balls or mini soccer balls work really well. Try not to have them too hard because it can be not very nice. Or alternatively, you could get a bigger soccer ball and just deflate it somewhat and do the same thing. But what we're going to do is actually not so much concentrate on that line around the ribs, but we're going to focus on that whole area around the rectus. Yep. So again, with these techniques, always go slow when you're starting out. If you find a sore area, back off a little bit and only press or put as much pressure as you feel comfortable to. How's that?
It's good, it feels nice.
Feels nice?
Yeah.
Only an athlete would say that. So again, we're looking at small movements. So Hannah can just come both up and down, side to side. How are you going?
Yeah, good.
And again, you're kind of looking for those sore areas, similar to if you've worked with a foam roller on ITB or another area that can be quite sensitive. You go to those sore areas, find them, and maybe hover for 5 or 10 seconds. And it just means that tissue is quite stuck there. And with pressure, with mechanical pressure, whether it be a ball or a roller, that slowly starts to release and ease off. How are you going?
Good, I can feel it releasing.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Feels very good.
And probably for Hannah, that the front line to the rectus, being a sprinter, she is obviously using those big hip flexor muscles of hers quite a lot to propel her on the track, so she can come down further. So if you come towards the psoas somewhat,
Yep.
You're not going to really get really deep into there, but you're going to be able to give it a nice generalized release for any tightness in that area.
Yes, that's very tight.
Is it?
Yeah.
So if it does feel very tight, we just start to go easy. Again, as much pressure as you can tolerate.
Yep.
And one other trick, if you're able to come down here, John, we're just looking at, with the psoas, just adding a bit of internal rotation here at the leg. So ankle and foot coming inwards as opposed to outwards, inwards, and getting that rotation in the leg will actually open up the muscle in that area there. How's that feel, Hannah?
Good. It's stronger when you do that.
Yeah. And maybe if we just shift it to your left side. How's that one?
Yeah, that's nice. Definitely releasing it.
So again, internal, external rotation at the leg. Just opens up the tissue at the hip a little bit more. And Hannah can just get into that area a little bit more effectively.
Yep.
How are you going?
That's good. Yeah.
I'll just leave you to it. I can leave.
No, that's really nice.
Okay, great. So let's repeat your swan and see if it's any different. So just generalized release with the ball. Go for it. Good. How does that feel?
A lot better.
Yep.
Definitely less stretch through my stomach.
Mm-hmm. What are you feeling in your lower back?
Yeah, that's definitely loosened off a lot.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of I don't
So
feel
a lot,
like I'm hinging as much.
a lot looser. Yeah, it looks a lot better as well. Do one more. So again, for you at home, if this is a new pose for you, Hannah, if you could just drop to your thighs there, you only have to come up yay far, so not feeling as though you really have to push through that. And obviously you'd be careful and go slowly if you've had any history of lower back pain or any issues up cervically as well. And maybe if you just show a regressed version a little bit further, maybe just on elbows, or even doing a version dropping back on elbows like that. For some of us, that might not have the mobility in the spine just yet. But hopefully using this technique will help.
Yes, it definitely has.
Thanks, Hannah. So just to recap, using a roller for the specific release at the rib line and the more generalized release with the ball. Okay, great. So that's front line to help extension, and we'll focus maybe on, how about we do the spine stretch for forward bend. So we'll do another technique in this video. So let's look at the opposite of that movement, or somewhat on the opposite in terms of a flexion movement. So you do, so spine stretch. So long sitting here, trying to extend the knees as much as possible, as much as is comfortable. And Hannah's just letting that natural roll of her spine come down and flexing as much as she can feel comfortable with that stretch. Where are you feeling that stretch, Hannah?
I feel it all through the back of my glutes and all down my hammy. So
yep.
Quite strong.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is there one side more than the other?
Right side.
Right side. So Hannah's feeling that more on that right side. So let's do a technique for her right leg, for that posterior line of tissue. So I'm going to grab a lacrosse ball.
Yeah.
I'm going to get you to release your foot.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can stand up.
Yeah.
So we'll just use a lacrosse ball. This can be any massage ball, spiky ball, whatever you have at home. A tennis ball is probably a little too soft, but if you've got a hockey ball, cricket ball, lacrosse ball, that works really well. So let's use that on the bottom of your right foot. So all Hannah's going to do is maybe for 30 seconds, let's just roll out the plantar fascia. So that's just all the tissue at the bottom of the foot. So I'm going to help you, Hannah.
Yeah.
So this is going to be nice and slow. And you say when if I get to a sore spot.
Yeah, just in there.
Yeah. So we find the sore spot and we'll just hover there for maybe 10 seconds or so.
Yep.
And just nice and slow, I'll get you to go. All I'm doing there is you can see Hannah's foot just rolling over that tissue there until it kind of eases off a little bit. How's that?
Tight in there, definitely.
Yeah. And let's work maybe towards the ball of your foot a little bit more. How's that?
Yeah, it's still very tight.
Very tight. So we'll keep going there for a few more seconds just until that tissue releases off. So for some of you, you may not feel so tight there. You can just do a generalized release. But if you do find you have some parts of the foot which are quite sore, then again, just hover over them for maybe 10 seconds or so, and you should find that soreness should slowly dissipate.
Yeah, it has.
Yeah?
Definitely. Yeah, it feels good now.
5 more seconds. Okay, great. So I'll get you to, let's repeat the spine stretch and see if it feels any different. So we'll just take that same position again, or posture again. How does that feel?
Definitely eased off on the right leg.
Right leg, yeah. How does your left leg feel?
Tighter now.
So what we've done there, guys, is, so that tissue is all continuous. There isn't any break in the tissue between the hamstring, the calf, and the bottom of the foot. It is one line of connective tissue. So actually by working the ball of the foot, we actually can make a bit of change in what Hannah's feeling up the back of her leg and her glutes. We'll do a couple more reps. How's that?
Yeah, it feels really nice now.
Feels good.
Yeah.
One more is fine. Okay, great. So what we would do is repeat the technique, of course, on the other side, just so to balance things out, but we'll do that in just a second. So that would work for any forward bend. We could do that in standing. We could do that in long sitting, as we're doing now. We could do that in supine by lifting the legs. So any technique that traditionally looks at focusing on the hamstrings, if we use that technique at the bottom of the foot with a ball, it can really help get some length along that line. So try it out. Thank you, Hannah. So thanks for joining us today, guys. That's to recap, we've done a release for the front of the body to help extension, and we've done a release for the bottom of the foot to help flexion. So just two very simple techniques that hopefully might change or make a bit of a difference in your body and with your Pilates practice. Thanks again. Check out, obviously, the rest of our videos, eFit30, and also Circus Conditioning, my website and blog. Thank you again, Hannah.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.
.30.